Hello, Internet. It's Jen T. Grace here, founder of Publisher Purpose Press, and I am back for tip number 22 of our 30-day marketing challenge. So once again, our 30-day challenge is to double your book sales from the last 30 days to this current 30-day period. So today's tip is number 22, and that is to give back to your community through book sales. Now, what I mean by this can vary significantly, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this, but I'm going to give you just a couple of ideas. So when I'm talking about giving back to your community, what I'm suggesting is to create and form very strategic partnerships with either nonprofit organizations in your area. Maybe it's a community-based organization. It could be a national organization. It could be an international organization. It could be a global organization. It doesn't necessarily matter the who in terms of whether it's a big organization or a small organization. The important thing is to think about who could you personally give back to as a way of promoting and marketing your book and selling your book. So a perfect example of this would be, so for example, I wrote a book in 2017 called Beyond the Rainbow. In 2016, the Pulse nightclub shooting happened where 49 LGBTQ people and allies lost their lives. So that was in my mind as I was writing my book. And so I not only dedicated the book to those 49 lives that were lost, but I also created a partnership where any royalties that are coming in, basically, so whether it's royalties or book sales, you get to decide what that is. But for me, I was doing royalties. So when royalties would come in, I cut a check out to different LGBTQ nonprofits that are somehow serving the community. So you can keep it loose, which is what I did. I kept it kind of loose. And I have a number of authors that I've worked with that also keep it loose, but you could also make it really tight too. So if you are the founder of a nonprofit, in addition to whatever else you might be doing. If you are an executive director of a nonprofit or you're on a board of a nonprofit, you might personally want to say, I am going to dedicate all of my book sales. So that could be book sales that you're doing in person. It could be your book royalties to this one specific nonprofit organization. Or you could do it broad-based. And you can even be more creative than this. So this is kind of like a very transactional thing. It doesn't have to be in a transactional format. It doesn't have to be in a monetary format. It could be, for example, we have a book called What Are You Waiting For? You Don't Have 9 Lives. And I love this book so much. It's just a very cute tale. It's kind of like a fable that is the author's memoir, but it's written through the fictional lens of her cat. And it's absolutely hilarious, but it's got some really deep points too. And so for her, for every book that's sold, she donates a can of cat food to a local animal shelter. So it could be something like that. So it doesn't have to be completely crazy. It doesn't have to be that you give 90% away of the profit that you made from a book. It could be that you donate a can of cat food to an organization that is meaningful, to you. It's similar if you think about like your wills, like if you've gone through and done your trust and estate. Like I know I have contingencies in mind that donate to a local animal shelter in addition to the alumni associations of the colleges that I've gone to. So it's honestly thinking very along those similar lines, if that's something that you've already been doing. It's about charitable giving. So again, it could be that you do just a financial approach to it, that royalties come in on a quarterly basis and you cut 10% to whatever organization that you're interested in. It could be that you donate a something in exchange for every book that's sold. So in the case of cat food, it makes perfect sense because that's what the author was writing about. At least cats were involved. So for you, it could be that you donate a single item to a food pantry. Maybe that's something that's part of your story, things like that. And it could be that you're doing something with your time. So it could just be simply the fact that you're an author, you are out there and talking to people and you're talking about these nonprofits that are important to you. But it could be that you're not doing a financial give back. It could be that you're donating your time. It could be that you're lending your platform to that nonprofit. That way, when you're talking, maybe you're speaking out on the road, and when you're talking about this particular nonprofit and what it means to you, et cetera. So there's a lot of different ways that you can slice this, but the big benefit to all of this, obviously, telling people that your promoting good, that you're impacting communities, that you're donating your time, money, some kind of item that someone is in need of. Those are all amazing things. Like, this is why this works so well, because it's amazing to feel good about giving back to a community that's important to you. But on the other side of this, it feels amazing for a reader to see what you're doing and say, if I buy this book, so there's book A and book B. Book A has this financial philanthropic tie into it. Book B does not. If I'm a reader and these two books are really similar, I'm probably going to go with the one that has some kind of philanthropic tie into it, because I want to feel like I'm giving back too. I want to feel like I'm giving back to a community, even if it's a community that I'm not part of. But if I can say, oh shit, like I buy that $20 book and $5 is going back to this community, like how awesome is that to feel as a reader, let alone as the author who is curating and coordinating this type of effort. So that's today's tip. I cannot recommend this highly enough. And so from a logistical standpoint, you might be thinking, okay, my book's been out for a while. How do I go about doing this? So it could be that you actually put this information on the cover of your book. It could be that you put the information on the inside of your book. I highly recommend having something on the back cover of your book, if possible. Like, I know if you go to my Amazon page, jenonamazon.com, 2 N's, that'll bring you to where all of my books are. If you go to that page, if you flip over to the back cover of my book, you'll see an example. And like on the top of it, it says a portion of the proceeds from this book go to LGBTQ communities or something like that. And then, you know, so that kept it vague and broad. So it's like a portion of the proceeds. So then you get to decide what that is. And it's about, you know, being integrity and kind of just really aligning your values and mission with that organization. You could also say 10% of the proceeds of the sale of this book go toward XYZ organization. It really doesn't matter which way you choose to approach it, but just make sure people know about it. Because then from a marketing standpoint, every time you're out there marketing, you can say, when you buy a copy of this book, you are also helping give back to this community. So that is really why this is such a great tip. And it costs you something, but it doesn't have to cost you something. If you have more time than you do money, do something that's time-based. If you have way too many organizations, which was the case with me, if you have way too many organizations where you want to be giving back to all of them, you're better off doing a broad message saying a portion of the proceeds are going toward organizations that support this cause. And so I have a number of authors that I have worked with who have listened to my advice and the team PYP's advice on just do this, because what it's going to do for you is it's going to give you one more way to market and one more way to reach out to your people. And it's a way that just feels good. And honestly, especially right now, people just want to feel good. So that is today's tip number 22, give back to your community through book sales. There's a lot of ways you can do it. And honestly, if there's any way that you were thinking about that I didn't even remotely touch on, you're probably good to go. Like, I just gave you a couple of ideas. There's a million different ideas you can have. Just if it feels good to you and it's aligned with what you're doing and how you want to impact people, then go with it. Just run with it. But make sure people know that this is what you've done. Make sure it's on your website. Update your book if you can update your book. Just get it everywhere so people know that it's there. So that's today's tip. As always, just a few announcements. The book mastermind, the book marketing mastermind, shall be starting in just a couple of weeks. So if you are interested in participating in our book mastermind, please go to the website that is scrolling below your screen, which is publisherpurposepress.com/marketing. And you can fill out the application there, where I can get to know a little more about you and how you're hoping that this mastermind will help you, and we will go from there. Additionally, I'm doing office hours at 4 p.m. Eastern time at this current moment. If you are looking in the future, please check the website for the up-to-date times. But the office hours are just an opportunity for you to ask questions around publishing, editing, marketing, anything related to your book. Just join. It's a mixed bag of people every single time. We got people from all over the world who are joining in, and it's just a really kind of supportive environment. So please, join that if you have questions, you want me to answer them for you. And then the WhatsApp accountability group, if you would like to join, all of the links for all of this information is below this video. So if you want to join our accountability group, just get a little more support in doing what you're trying to do related to your book, please join. There's no cost involved for the office hours or the WhatsApp group. I'm just here trying to help you as much as I can during these times, because I know that some of you might have a little more time on your hands while others may not. But either way, I know that you want to increase your book sales and really support people. So however I can help do that, I am more than happy to. So that is today's tip. I will be back tomorrow with tip number 23, and we are in the home stretch of these 30 days. And so far, I'm really hoping that some of these tips have really resonated. So if they have, please send me an email. Let me know that it's working. Tell me what exactly is working. And if you have questions or just comments or anything that you want me to address in one of the next 7 tips, please let me know now, because a lot of these tips have been designed specifically around certain people's questions. So if you have a question, please just let me know and I will happily help. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow, and